deceitful, buried, sexual harassment.
Marsha Blackburn's attack ad is just a lie.
Another lie.
The latest campaign ads in Tennessee's highly watched Senate race focus on sexual harassment. Both sides making their claims, but where does the truth lie?
10 News reporter Mark Salinger looks at the facts behind the latest TV ads. Mark?
Robin and John, this ad campaign is the latest in a series of back and forth between Senate candidates Phil Bredesen and Marsha Blackburn. So we took a look at the ads and the claims they make.
You've probably seen these two political advertisements on TV. The ads deal with Phil Bredesen's handling of sexual harassment allegations in his administration while he was governor.
Sexual harassment cases skyrocketed under his watch.
An Associated Press review found that by the end of 2005, the number of harassment claims was on track to double from the year before. We don't know the exact reason, but Bredesen has said it's because more people were reporting the harassment. And at least one person in Bredesen's office was demoted after sexual harassment claims were investigated. In 2004, he instituted workplace harassment training across all state offices. The Bredesen campaign released an ad in response, saying the former governor has always had zero tolerance for harassment.
Governor Bredesen has always had zero tolerance for sexual harassment.
Zero.
The ad attacking Bredesen also claims that his administration shredded notes in sexual harassment cases.
So what did Bredesen's administration do? Shredded the evidence.
The Bredesen campaign says any shredding was done to protect victims of harassment, so that their names would not be released to the public.
The only shredding was to protect the privacy of the victims of sexual harassment.
So that victims could talk freely.
In 2006, Bredesen ordered that the state government stop shredding notes to protect victims' identities in exchange for a commitment by news organizations to withhold victims' names.
And it's now up to voters to decide who they want to represent them. Both candidates view East Tennessee as an important part of the state ahead of Election Day. Marsha Blackburn campaigned here last week. Phil Bredesen is in town today. We've also taken a look at how campaign ads are addressing the opioid epidemic. We looked at the facts of some of the other ads you may have seen. That's online at WBIR.com. Robin and John.